Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about natal moon conjunct to Uranus. So, this is a very fun and exciting aspect to have in your natal chart. Likely there was something unusual or different about the home life, and the upbringing, the earliest memories, and even like coming from past life energy. There's like this strong energy of I'm different and I am an individual and I'm not going to listen to nothing and nobody unless it resonates with my inner intuition. So we have a very Uranian person with the moon conjunct to Uranus. There's a very strong independent streak and a real like wanting to figure things out for themselves rather than like, oh, I read this in a book, or somebody at school told me this, or somebody at church told me this. It's like, no, there's a real need for experiential knowing, and that can lead them down all different kinds of pathways, one of them being astrology, which is very Uranian in nature, and people with the moon conjunct Uranus usually will have a liking for things that are different or outcasted, or yeah, any really kind of means of self-knowledge as well is something that they take pleasure in, because the moon is what we need to feel emotionally fulfilled and secure. And when these people have something that they're involved in, that they're learning about, that makes them feel like they're understanding themselves and others, they really like that. So this conjunction on the negative can definitely show that at times they do not feel in control of their emotions. There's a very emotional part of them it's like a lightning bolt. Their emotions are either they're on and they're so strong, or they're off and there's like a shut off, and then they can't access feelings. So their emotions come out in very sporadic ways, very unusual ways. Many people would probably say that they're not emotional at all, and others would say that they're some of the most emotional people that you could ever know. And both of those are probably true, because there's just something very unusual about the processing of emotions, and how they come out is very impulsively. And so, on some days it is going to be that they appear overly emotional or excitable or act impulsively, and then other days, like the opposite can be true. And that's the thing with Uranus energy, with moon too. Our emotional self is that you don't know what you're going to get. And these people definitely do not know what they're going to feel like day by day. And that it can even be scary for them at times, because they do feel like they are sort of uncontrollable. They are definitely untamable. But yeah, they don't really understand where their emotions are coming from. The moon is such a deep part of ourselves that, it can be more unconscious, it can be very reactive. And with moon conjunct to Uranus, we don't realize why sometimes we feel very emotional and sometimes we don't. And actually, we can feel a bit like a weird freak at times with the way that our emotions will come out in certain situations that we feel that other people would not be emotional about. And then in other situations, when others are maybe seeking closeness or reassurance or emotional connection with us, and we cannot access it, it's just not there, and we don't know how to work this, how to, allow a more natural flow of emotions, if that makes sense. It's something that is definitely hard for people with moon conjunct Uranus to figure out, is What is going on with my emotions? So that can actually end up leading them down pathways of self exploration and self help because of that kind of instability. And it really can feel like their nervous system, their energy is very high and very tumultuous in a way. It can give anxiety, even. They can be, they can feel that they have anxiety because the way that the Uranian energy works at the moon is that it activates it. And this is a very activating conjunction. It can be hard to shut down and relax and go to sleep at night with this conjunction. So they can definitely be very passionate or very the opposite. With this conjunction, it just depends on what it is. And if there's something that is unusual and something that is out there and something that is even like helping people, they have kind of like a humanitarian sort of energy as well, and they can really get behind those kind of ideals and really have a lot of emotional energy to help people in a more detached kind of like group oriented setting rather than like in a one-on-one kind of like close intimate setting. They also have a really high level of charisma and actual attractiveness to others. The moon, I feel, can represent like our aura around us. And the moon conjunct Uranus people, they have a very, it's just an interesting aura. People can find it to be very alluring, very sexy, even though Uranus is not necessarily a sexual planet in any way. It's that like when you're around someone who has Uranus strong and there's like that unpredictability and there's like they really do not care about pleasing you in a way. This aspect is, and you could have other things showing that there is people pleasing tendencies, but like this conjunction is like the opposite of people pleasing, and their authenticity, their ability to just say what they're thinking and feeling without regard, without holding back, is very attractive and very charismatic, and other people feel like they can be themselves around them. Now, where they might get turned off is when in the next moment they're seeking some sort of emotional connection or reassurance, and then the moon Uranus person is gone. Poof. But usually, for the most part, people with this conjunction are very attractive to other people because there's just a really unique quality, like kind of like an alien, but like in an attractive way of like, wow, this person really just goes to the beat of their own drum, and they do end up leading very different lives. This aspect can also really show up in a relationship sense. It's very relational. It can sometimes be completely projected onto a relationship in some cases, specifically with men, where it's just their love life is just this very unstable, erratic thing, and the women that they attract are unavailable or, yeah, just not fully emotionally there or non-committal, that kind of thing. But in both male and female, this can be a theme of relationships, is like when it's starting to get to that closer phase and you're wanting some sort of commitment or stability, it's not there. And so of course people with this conjunction too very commonly will be in relationships with a heavy Uranus synastry or composite chart as well, because of this is just what they expect emotionally. This is what they expect from life is Uranus. So they end up in very Uranus dominant synastries and composite charts. And of course, because anybody within their age group, like if they're going to have a moon conjunction with someone, it's going to be conjunct their Uranus too. So it's like they can't really avoid that, right? Yeah, what else? So inventiveness and genius, because of their complete disregard for any existing mode of thought and ideas, they can really come up with some very genius perceptions. The way that they see things is completely unusual, sometimes not grounded enough to um, really make sense to other people, at least not, maybe not even in their lifetime, but they can definitely come up with some pretty profound realizations about humans, about life, and there like can be a strong inventive streak. They really could potentially invent something new, or some new school of thought. They definitely can have, yeah, inventive abilities with this conjunction, and they can be very able to like see anybody at the soul level. Like they don't see you based on your past. They don't see you based on your certificates on the wall, or your, level of education or money, or, what, like shit like that. Like, no, they don't see you like that. They see you in the moment when they're looking at you, and they take it at face value, and they just like they can end up seeing your soul, because like most people do not judge people like that. Like, so there's a real openness, and not that they can't be judgmental in their own ways, because they definitely don't like being told what to do. They definitely don't like being boxed in, and like they are capable of judgment, but they don't judge people based on these societal norms. And so they can end up having a very pure perception of people. And that can contribute to their being liked by people, because people feel truly seen. The other thing I want to mention is, if you have this conjunction in Capricorn, because I have Uranus right at the beginning of Aquarius, but a lot of people in my generation have it in Capricorn. So I know a lot of people with this conjunction in Capricorn. It kind of is like, it's less like what the textbooks are going to say, because you have that Capricornian need for structure and order and stability. So you're not quite as wild as some of these descriptions will say. And sometimes you can see the innovation or the genius coming out in a more business-like sense, or even like Moon and Capricorn too. Like around the home, you can still be very structured and ordered. It's like the Uranian energy. It comes out in a different way. It almost makes them like doubly Capricorn, in kind of like a unconventional way, if that makes sense. So that's just something I've noted. It's like it does kind of manifest a bit differently in Capricorn. But otherwise, yeah, there is kind of a need to move around, like not live in the same place their whole life, kind of thing, not have the same type of relationship that their parents had, right? Not that they grew up in a conventional household either, but whatever it was, they might need to be the opposite of it. And yeah, it can really take a person who is very open, very like it's a unique type of person to love them, to be that person too, because they actually do need someone to be their stability and their grounding, but they also need someone to give them complete freedom to follow their many whims and, be who they are authentically as well. So it's a very unique type of relationship that they will end up being in, but I do think that it's definitely possible, after some exploration of life and of relationships, for them to be able to settle down, and kind of it can actually give this conjunction even more room to really be, because when you have that kind of structure coming from that person that's always there, then it's like the love life isn't the thing constantly changing anymore. The emotions will still be, constantly going through their own upheavals and that, but you can really focus this energy on the genius and the creativity and the intuition that this conjunction really brings. So yeah, it's a really interesting one. I'd love to know your experience of this conjunction. If you have it in your natal chart or you know someone that does, let me know in the comments, you guys. And thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your requests. Keep those coming. We'll talk soon. Okay, bye.